This question from John Dimitri.
Go, John.
You recently cited Brian De Palma as a favorite filmmaker.
Sure.
What is your number one De Palma film?
My number one De Palma film, Scarface. But I do love Untouchables.
Well, I could see the baby carriage scene, which is also Battleship Potemkin,
Yeah.
of course, like also being highly influential for you for tracking action.
Yeah, it's just like that sequence, even though it's so intimate and weirdly teeny, just as far as like sort of cinema storytelling, is just really well done.
While we're talking about other films, so I loved the scene of the Anthony Hopkins robot and Sam by the body of water, and she's making daisy necklaces. Is that a homage to Frankenstein?
Probably. I mean, he's definitely like seems kind, but we also know he's basically a killing machine. That's what his real job is. So, you know, and Sam is completely innocent. But I like the way in this version of the movie or this story, you know, it's actually triggering to him in the opposite way, probably, that Frankenstein, you know, is triggered by the little girl.
It's a hopeful Frankenstein.
It is a hopeful Frankenstein.
Yeah. This comes from Andrea Now. Out of all the movies you filmed, what scene was the most fun you had while filming it?
One of the funnest scenes to shoot was the final casino fight in Army of the Dead, where the team is running across the casino floor and they're just confronted by the zombies, and there's like the crazy shootout, and it's insane. You know, I shot that movie, and like the stuntmen were like super into it, like insane, and Dave was on point, and everyone was like doing their damnedest. Because also it's just like a romp, you know, just machine gunning zombies is like, it's pretty good times.
Okay, this is something that a lot of people are asking as well. But we'll credit Avery Nielsen.
Okay.
What made you decide to become your own DOP?
Probably my experience on Justice League and sort of the separation that happens between the director and the movie when you're on at a certain scale of production. Video Village gets like drawn out into this massive, its own camp, and it suddenly becomes like, you know, there's like 2 tiers of chairs, there's 10 monitors, it looks like a whole other world. And then like the movie's over there. Mm-hmm. I had been a director cameraman in commercials, you know, for 10 years, 12 years. I know my way around a camera a little bit. When I went to do Army, I was just like, you know what? I gotta figure this out. Like, I gotta just get back, give me the camera. I just wanna go close. And yeah, we had no Video Village on the movie. We had no chairs on the movie. You could bring your own chair, and that was fine, like a little stool or folding chair.
Apple crates.
But yeah, apple crates. That's what I had, an apple crate with this pad on it. And it was just like, everyone's like, oh, Zach said no chairs. He forbid chairs. That's rude. I didn't forbid chairs. I just didn't want to like have them. We were moving fast. So like if you could bring a camping chair, by all means, like camp out. But I didn't have a chair, and I just was like, I'm standing or running this entire movie, and I did that, and it was great, and I loved it. As a way of sort of shooting, it really inspired me, made me like, I was in love with it and in love with making movies, and so when I came to this movie, I just was like, yeah, I like that.
When you're DOP and director, who becomes your ultimate collaborator other than the actors, like amongst the crew?
Probably the gaffer, the person I talk to most, gaffer and the first AC are the 2 people that become my like real, and the first AD, of course. Those 3 are like really, they're getting the main, they're getting my main, hey, we need this, we need this, we need this. You know, yeah, so get a lot of that.
This one's from Wonder Meg. Christopher Nolan recently said that Watchmen was a masterpiece ahead of its time.
Sure.
If you could use the Speed Force to travel through time, would you still have it released in 2009 or now?
It's a good question. I mean, I like the 2009 Zack Snyder aesthetic that's on that movie, and I wouldn't change that. and so I wouldn't know how to have it released now other than using the Speed Force, I guess. But also I like, I don't know, this is going to sound crazy. I kind of like that people missed it when it came out, because I just think that it's a movie that was so personal to me when I made it. I spent a lot of my my credit that I got from 300 on that movie, and I was happy to do it. Like in the board game of making movies, if you have a huge box office success, you get some Hollywood credit to do whatever you want. And I'm really glad that I did Watchmen after that, because I just feel like it was exactly the movie that I wanted to make at the time. So yeah, it's tough. I think I would leave it and just let it be for those that know.
Many people are asking also another film that found its audience a little later, Sucker Punch.
Sure.
Yuna asks, or first says, "Hi Zach." There's a lot of friendly folks on Letterboxd.
Nice. I'm saying hi to them.
Hi Zach. Is there a hope for a Sucker Punch director's cut, and how much would your intended vision change the tone and meaning of the film, if so?
There absolutely is. I've talked to Warner Brothers about it quite a bit, and we're just looking for a window that makes sense to their buyers and to the, there's a business aspect of that. But there's a lot of unfinished business I have with that movie. That's like the only movie I've made that really sort of exists in that way, where I never really realized what I was intending. So let's all cross our fingers and knock on all the wood that we have, that I can get that together, because I would love to do that.
Man of Steel now. Heather Weather.
Heather Weather, hello.
Says ahoy, Zach.
Ahoy. Already loving it.
Just wondering, do you cry every time you watch that one scene in Man of Steel with Kevin Costner, or is it just me?
I get teary with all the Costner scenes. I get pretty teary at You Are My Son. So yeah, Costner's just great in that movie.
I guess I have daddy issues. If a dad ever hugs their son in a movie, I cry.
You're just like, what? I just want to be your son. You are my son. David Goyer, and crushed at that one.
For Dawn of the Dead, Avocondo wants to know, whose idea was it to have the zombie baby in Dawn of the Dead? Yours or James Gunn's?
That was a James Gunn idea, 100%, and I give him full credit for it. I loved it, by the way, so I thank him for it.
We do have a couple Rebel Moon questions from some of our members.
Oh, great.
That we highlighted here. Incept Stellar says, "Hi Zach."
Oh.
Non-binary person here.
Sure.
What prompted you to include a non-binary character in Rebel Moon? And would you say queer stories are often underrepresented in science fiction, even still?
That's an important thing to have people experience, especially if something like that, having a character like that is outside of your own experience. That way you can feel the importance of those characters and the importance of individuals, as they represent themselves. Sometimes in sci-fi, which it can be a kind of cliched world, it's important to have queer characters because they're so important to this world.
And before I get to Nick Field's question, I wanted to ask, was there any hesitation? This is has part one in the title. Was there any hesitation putting part one out there? Some people, like Mission Impossible just dropped part two from the next one they're doing because they don't want people to think it'll end in a cliffhanger. Was there any hesitation including part one in the title?
No, I think for me there wasn't, because we knew that part two is hot on the heels of we shot part two. Mm. If we hadn't shot it, I would have been. I think I would have approached it in a different way. If it wasn't coming like in a couple months. So yeah, it felt to me like a really natural for this cadence. I think if it was like I said, a longer cadence, you'd have to really grapple with it. But these really are boom boom,
Yeah.
So I want you to go straight in to the second one.
Well, Nick Field is already thinking ahead for you. He asks, with Rebel Moon, is your goal to create a universe that can survive even after you've retired? So there would be Rebel Moon films and shows created by others, the way that George Lucas did with Star Wars and James Cameron is planning to do with Avatar.
That would be amazing. I mean, that would be the holy grail. Yeah, that would be good.
Another question that I had about Rebel Moon One of the great things about sci-fi films or space operas or all the various details, a couple that I liked are I don't know if there are shark-like fish under the ice, but those fish under the ice.
Yeah, the giant carp actually.
And I don't know what to call it other than the hookah skin contact high thing going on with the tentacles in the corner.
What's cool is in the R-rated version when he goes, he exhales the smoke, but we just couldn't do it because it's not. You can't show smoking in PG-13.
Like, he's absorbing it in his skin.
So in that version, he's just absorbing it.
Okay, gotcha. Now that you brought up R-rated cut of Rebel Moon, because there's a lot alluded to in Rebel Moon. Is there R-rated cut
It's almost an alternative reality version of that movie. And we were saying that if the movies went forward, there's a version where you literally could have different stuff happen in the two versions because they could start to diverge even further than they do now, which I think I've never seen that. So it's like what aesthetic you choose to sort of follow.
What are your personal favorite details that kind of like those small things that are very fun to put in there?
For instance, a detail would be that Jimmy's armor on this, the symbol on his armor is the origin myth of the mother world, the wolf and the worm, and they're surrounding the chalice, and the chalice is Issa. So there's this whole mythological run we did with Issa, who is the princess, but that there were two other Issas that were born into the mother world in their history, right? And they live mythologically, but they certainly are in the myths that are told. So I'm very into like the Issa myths and the Issa references, and Issa cultists.
For when people watch this and are looking forward, it's only a couple months, which in this day and age is really quick.
Yep.
But also in this day and age, a couple months feels like a year.
Sure, absolutely.
So when people are done with part one, what are you looking forward to the most about people seeing part two? Or like if you wanted to tease, like if you really loved this character, you got something in store.
Yeah, I think that, Jimmy, of course, really plays an integral part in movie two. If movie one, you build the team, movie two is like war. And I think literally, it's insane. Because like the action in this movie is cool and at a certain level, but movie two is just off the rails as far as like it's insanity. So it's good fun.
Cool. Thanks so much for your time and taking some questions from me and our members at Letterboxd.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
that was fun. Cheers, brother.